We start with the fundamentals, and in this topic, we say that today's world is an information-rich world. It has become a necessity for everyone to know about computers. A computer is an electronic data processing device which accepts and stores input data, processes the data input, and generates the output in a required format. So I wanted to say that what we will actually observe in this unit is that computer is characterized with three major components. One, it accepts a data input. Two, it processes that data. And three, it generates some output. That is the general characteristic of a computer. Therefore, these are the functionalities that we are going to be looking at in depth, how the computer carries out these tasks. Yeah, we are going to be looking at those details. So the purpose of this tutorial, of course, I mentioned what it's called tutorial because it's coming from a certain source that calls them tutorials, but is now a lecture. The purpose of this one is to introduce you to computers and its fundamentals. And we start with the functionalities of a computer. As I've already mentioned, is that the first thing that a computer does is that it accepts some input. The second thing that it does, it stores that data in its memory. So the other thing that probably I never mentioned is that it will store that data, some memory. The step 3 will be to process the data and convert it to some useful format. Now, step 4 is to generate the output and also controls all these 4 steps. So here is the block diagram of a computer, where a very simplified block diagram of a computer, where we have either input, processing of the information or the data, and the output. So there are some advantages of computers is that first, in comparison to manual processing of information, computers are high speed or they are very fast. And therefore, they are capable of performing calculations for a very large amount of data very fast. Actually, the units of speed are in microseconds or nanoseconds. So for those who might not be very conversant with these terms, micro is 10 to the power minus 6. And nano is 10 to the power minus 9, and pico is 10 to the power minus 12. So we are talking about over second. So 1 over 10 to the power 6 over second. That is very, very, very small. We are seeing the main advantage of computers is that it provides very high speed. And the simplest of all is that assume you want to, okay, I think most of you are conversant with the elections that you might not have voted, but at least you might have observed in the last general election when voting was carried out and the electronic system was employed. You can remember that the counting is done manually. Of course, they count the physical ballots that have been cast, but then when you want now to find the sum, it was not done manually. It was the figures were input in the gadget or in the electronic gadget, and the computers were able to do that. And by them, after we finished conducting the elections by on a given, say, I don't remember the date, say we finished today, by midnight we had received the half of all the tally, and we knew who was leading. So if you were to do that manually with someone carrying out that task, it would have become very, very tedious and very, very slow. That is what we are saying, that when you use computers, it becomes very, very fast. So the other thing is that they are very accurate. Actually, they provide accuracy of 100%, error-free. They will not, unless you give them wrong information, the computers are very accurate. But there is a term that we normally use in regard to computers, and that term normally says that garbage in, garbage out. And there is a term that will become very conversant with it. And this term means that if you give the computer wrong information, that is what we are calling it garbage, wrong information, it will give you wrong information. So wrong information will come out. So, but in general, if you give it correct information, then you also get very accurate output information. So having said that, the other advantage of computers is that they have very high storage capacity, and we say that memory is very important. Of course, you might know, and when you're talking about computers, we're not just talking about the the personal computers that you might have seen. We're talking about mobile phones, they fall under the category of computers. We're talking about tablets, they also fall under the category of computers. We're talking about actual PCs, personal computers, servers also belong to that category. And we are saying that if you look at the amount of information that are stored in these devices, is very huge. You can actually have the entire library, as huge as it is, the entirety of that information might be stored in one mobile device. We are saying that computers have generally very high storage capacity. And unlike human beings, a computer is free from monotony. You can continue doing the same thing. Computers don't get tired of doing the same task like we humans are. So that advantage is called diligence. It can continue doing the same monotonous task without boredom and without error. We also say that computers are very versatile machine in that they are very flexible in performing different jobs. They can be used to solve different tasks as long as you have fed them with the appropriate programs. So as long as you feed it with appropriate programs, we are going to be learning them at a later stage, what we also call applications. Computers only require you to install the application, and you also know it. If your phone you want to have a program for doing a given task, all you require is to download that application, and therefore it will doing the job that you wanted to do. So that is what we call versatility. Reliability. The other advantage of computers is that they are reliable machines. As long as you have performed, you have maintained it. As long as you know there are different components. As long as you maintain it, you give it service. Say if you require power, you power it up. And if there's some servicing, some components have malfunctioned, you have replaced them. Therefore, it will be reliable. It will continue working as long as every components have been properly maintained. Of course, computers also make automation very easy and straightforward because, as we have said, computers will do the work that they have been programmed to do. And therefore, as long as you have given them their appropriate application, they will do the work without human intervention or without human following up with them. Of course, they reduce paperwork and cost. As you know, there is some reduction of cost and paperwork. And you even think about it, we are now learning online, and you are where you are because of the advantages of computers. So you have not traveled anywhere, you are just working from your home, and you are still listening to this lecture nevertheless without coming to class. So that, of course, provides huge advantage. And now we jump to the disadvantages of computers, and this actually reminds us of the same point I told you. I told you about garbage in and garbage out, and that simply means that the computers have no IQ. And when you say they have no IQ, it simply means that if you give them wrong information, they will give you wrong information or they will give you wrong solution. Each instruction has to be given to the computer. Computers do not know anything. They have to be given instruction. Of course, there is a new aspect that we are going to be discussing probably at a later stage called artificial intelligence. So we are saying generally computers are dumb, they are stupid. They do not know much or they do not know anything, but nowadays it is possible to apply or give computers some artificial intelligence, and that intelligence somehow makes them appear as though they are intelligent, but in actual sense they actually giggle. You give them stupid information, they will give you stupid answers, and generally that is what we normally say, that one advantage of computers is that they are stupid, or they have no IQ, they have no inbuilt wisdom or knowledge within them. The other disadvantage of computers is that it functions as a per user's instruction, thus it is fully dependent on humans. So most of the times, if you don't have programmers, you do not have people who are going to give computers instructions, then they are not going to do the work without you. Even in this case, this computer cannot teach you in absence of me. As much as they are very intelligent, this computer will not start teaching you things unless I am there to give it or to use it. So most of the times we say that computers depend on humans. The other thing is that they require suitable environment, therefore they cannot work in any environment. Assume you want Now think about this: that we are building roads. We normally send humans to dig and to do other things. Sometimes the computers, of course, there is a way you can prepare them to do the job using machines, but in the general sense, they require the environment to be very friendly for them. So unless it's a computer that is specifically made for digging, or here we're talking about robots, robots still use computers, and therefore uh, we are simply saying that the operating environment of the computer should be free, should be dust free and suitable. Otherwise, it is going to fail in its performance. Think about humans. Humans can even work underwater. Sometimes not all kinds of computers can work underwater. Most of the phones that you people have, if it falls in water, it actually gets damaged. But on the other hand, humans, of course, as much as the humans are going to drown in water, there's a way that humans can be adapted to work underwater and still perform. So what you're saying is that the computers require specific environment. Computers have no feelings or emotions, and therefore they cannot make judgments, and therefore you cannot be pretend that you really love your computer so much to the extent that it has become your buddy or your friend. They do not know whether you are a good friend yesterday or you are mistreated it yesterday. They don't show emotions, therefore they cannot replace humans.